How do you get in the writing zone when you need to work? Okay. Um, so as I just slowly melt inside. So there is a thing that we just shared with our Patreon folks, and it's available for free, called Barriers to Writing, which talks a lot about how to get into the zone and the things that are blocking you. Having said that, I have been working for myself for the past couple of years on trying to identify what causes me to slide into the zone and hyperfocus and what prevents me from it. I've been doing a lot of stuff that is literally classical conditioning. I I have a candle that sits on my desk that I love. From this particular one is from Cantrip Candles. It is Black Hound Tavern. These are designed for DMs. So this smells like whiskey and firewood, but I only get to light it when I am writing, and I love the candles. So,
I think there are places. I think I drove by them the other day, and I was
oh,
like,
cool.
"Cantrip Candles, what's that?"
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. If they're based in
Um,
LA, I think I know where that is. Anyways,
yeah, I don't actually, it doesn't say on the thing, but
that's really
they,
funny.
yeah, they
Anyways,
have really great. I love
yeah.
their candles a lot. So I have playlists. I have a whole bunch of different things that are designed to kind of give me a Pavlovian response of, oh, I should be writing right now. The biggest thing for me for getting into the zone for writing is to remove all of the things that are not in the writing zone. Because a lot of times I want to write, but there are so many distractions that it's really easy to slide over to those. So I put my phone on airplane mode when I go to bed at night. And I try really hard to not take it off. Let me say this a different way. The days that I don't take it off airplane mode, I get up, I do a couple of chores, and then I write. And the days that I get up and I think, oh, I'm just going to check on this one thing, I don't write on those days. So that's not to say that you need to do that. What you need to do is figure out what gets between you and the writing zone and try to remove that. This is a thing that comes out of dog training, which is that the easiest way to deal with a dog when they're having a reaction that you don't want them to have is to remove the stimulus. How about you, Dongwon, when you're working on writing game stuff and you need to get in the zone?
Um, yeah. So for working on those things or editing or whatever it is, like any sort of the big creative lift tasks I have to do, the thing that I think about the most or that helps me the most is one of the hardest to do, which is I believe very strongly in the power of cultivating boredom. I think boredom is one of the greatest creative motivators we have in our lives because it feels bad and I hate it. And I think, but also it's generative, right? Like making sure my brain has the time and space to really be able to engage in the big question that I need to deal with often means removing other stimulus and distraction away from my life. And really forcing myself to not engage with the world. So staying off of social media, staying off of TikTok, trying not to be playing an engaging video game, trying even to not be watching a good television show, right? I think um cultivating boredom, like truly in a sit very still in a room by myself and until I want to crawl out of my skin and then go and sit and work, right? And I think that's why certain meditative things like driving or going on a long run or meditation or all those things. It's sort of a similar thing, but like this is more holistic than that, where really it is about not having an activity for a little while. It's about not doing the things that you enjoy doing. Like it's sort of the opposite of treat culture, a little bit of like take the treats away for a second and force yourself to sit in a treatless space and then remember, oh wait, the thing I actually love doing the most is the work that is very meaningful and important to me. And then you'll go and sit down and do that work, right?
Yeah.
So cultivating boredom is a difficult thing to do. I think it's a similar idea to like taking a rot day or whatever. Just like kind of sit still, don't engage with things, don't engage with the people that you like in your life. Just like get them to leave you alone for a second And that includes you, like you leave yourself alone too, if you know what I mean by that. And I think that can be really helpful and just like reduce the multitasking, reduce the overall noise of the world around you for a day, and then try and come back and work and see what happens, right? Hard to do. It's a
Yeah.
luxury to have that space. You know, if you have kids, if you have pets, if you have partners, spouses, friends, like all those things, that can make that all very difficult. But whenever I find myself really struggling to accomplish something, it's a reminder to myself of like, I need to turn the volume down on everything around me for a second and just like force myself to be unstimulated until I'm itchy with a desire to work.
Yeah, I one of the things that you can do, and it's hard, is to time block on the calendar. This is writing time,
Yeah,
and then say that's the only thing that you're allowed to do during that time. You don't have to write, but you can't do anything else.
yeah.
It's hard to do when you're at home because there's always one other thing you can do, which is why I have been doing all of these things. Like part of the I like using the candle. The other piece of it that I didn't say was that lighting the candle is a really easy low step.
Mhm,
Like there's very little energy that's taken to do that. I don't have to make any decisions about lighting the candle. I don't have to do any of those things. So kind of what I would do is I have a I can queue up a very small ritual, and each step of the ritual takes me gets me moves me into that writing zone, so that helps. And the other thing that the candle does is it also serves as a signal to my husband I am writing, and he
mhm,
knows not to talk to me when the candle is lit.
mhm. You have a door you can close, if you have a certain playlist that you play, anything to sort of like what you want to be doing is creating boundaries around your work, right? And those boundaries make them as inviolable as possible. Like that time is sacred. And so finding a way to enforce that for yourself and for the people in your life is really important. And I think what you were saying about like have writing time and you don't have to write, but so like take some of the pressure off of like you have to be producing words. Like if you have writing time and you wrote 0 words, I think that's fine.
Yeah.
So long as you did not use that time to scroll or text your friends or wash the dishes or walk the dog. Those don't count. Those are times that you are scrolling, texting your friends, washing the dishes, or whatever, right? Use your writing time to be writing. And sometimes that just means that you are thinking about writing and not actually doing it. That counts in my book. But it doesn't count if what you're doing is doing something else with that time, right? And I recognize that for a lot of people, myself included, multitasking is often how I get my brain to process. But there are times where I need to be like, nope, I've been doing an infinite amount of multitasking. I've done enough background processing. What I need is for my brain to stop chewing on the 8 other things that it likes to chew on and chew on this one thing I need it to focus on. And so I think just like shutting off all those other distractions, phone on airplane mode, or even not in the room with you, right? Like external cues, closing a door, certain kind of music, certain kind of scent, certain kind of whatever it is, or just a regular time of day. It's always from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., whatever it is, right? That's very luxurious. I don't have a day job schedule, but that I described, but whatever that is, right? Carve it out, put it on the calendar, put up a sign, go home, leave me alone, I think there really is, not to get too Virginia Woolf about it, but that room of your own, that space that's yours, that needs to be protected as a very sacred thing for your process. And that includes from yourself, maybe
Yeah.
most importantly from yourself.
Yeah, and we've got some folks who are commenting in the chat here where we're doing this live, saying, talking about accountability buddies.
Yeah.
One of the things about that is body doubling, matching somebody else's energy. So if they're writing, we will also write. But the other thing is that we'll show up for other people and we'll be kind to them in ways that we aren't for ourselves. And so that can be one of the ways in which you make this, oh, I have to go and do this writing thing because I want to help my friend do their writing thing, and I need to be doing this because it will help them. And that's a brain hack. We don't always have the luxury to do that, but Doesn't have
Hmm.
to be an in-person, it can be Zoom, any of those things, anything that basically gives you the space to write.
And again, I think one thing I just want to reemphasize is that like writing's hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard. It's hard work.
Yeah.
It's like work. You know what I mean? And if it feels hard, that's just kind of how it goes. It doesn't mean it should feel bad. Again, I don't
Yeah.
want you to be miserable. You should find the joy in it, in the way that I find joy in going to the gym. That's also hard and it hurts and everything's sore, but I like love that, you know? And I want you to like find the same joy in writing that you can in other activities in your life, right?
Yeah.
And so, but that does, but it's okay if it's hard. It's okay if sitting down and lighting that candle, you sit there and you go, "Ugh, God, I have to write." You know what I mean? That's an okay feeling, right? Like, there's a thing I like to talk about, which I think there's a really big difference between joyful complaining and just miserable complaining, you know?
Uh-huh.
I know a lot of people who like just misery complain, and it's like they're the worst people to be around if you're just negative about everything. But my favorite people also complain all the time. Maybe this is just a New Yorker thing, but like my favorite people complain all the time, but in a really joyful way of like, oh, this sucks so bad. We're still doing it. We're still having a good time. We're still doing the thing. But like it's like the joy of being able to complain about doing the hard thing as you're doing it is really important. And it's okay to lean into that.
Yeah. I just had a conversation. You just reminded me of something. I had was talking with Amal El Motar, who I know you know
Mhm.
since you rep. Um, but I was saying that I had had a recent realization that one of the reasons that writing was hard, particularly when everything else is happening, is because writing is basically just a series of decisions.
Yeah.
You just have to make decision after
Yeah.
decision after decision, and they're not going to be done anytime soon.
Yep.
And it's exhausting. And
Hmm.
Amal said yes, that she agreed with that, but then there were also these moments where you did get into the writing zone, and and it was about discovering and how exciting it was to discover things as you wrote. And that what she has begun trying to do is to think about the novel or the story or whatever it is that she wants to do as if it already exists in the world, and how she would feel if
Hmm.
it existed and what it would be like to have it. And then to think about the process of discovering it.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's such a great, interesting reframing of this. So so I guess basically what I'm hoping for here is that you get to discover your writing zone.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that image of like discovering the novel that your future self has already written. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It feels very much like the you sculpt by, removing the parts of the marble that aren't the statue,
Yeah.
right? Like, but I do think there is that thing of like are you're already capable of writing the book you want to write. It's just you need to do the steps that get you there.
Yeah.
And I really love that image. So
Well, thank you all so much for your questions.
yeah, these were great questions, and it's always nice to chat with y'all.